Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to share a lesson from my online finishing techniques course for hand knitters. It's on how to do an I-cord cast off and I-cord buttonhole. So imagine if you were knitting a cardigan and you want to pick up stitches at the end and knit an I-cord button band with I-cord buttonholes. It's an extra for my in-person finishing techniques class. We don't always get time to cover it because we have to cover a lot of stuff in that class, and I only have 6 hours most places I teach. So we don't always have time to cover it, but I have a few extras at the end of the day if we do really well time-wise. And recently I have been able to include it in a few of my finishing techniques workshops, but I've never filmed a lesson to include in my online finishing techniques workshop for this topic. So I thought I'd film that to include in my online course, and I thought as I was doing it, I thought maybe I'll share it here as a free lesson on YouTube. So if you've been wondering about what my online courses are like, then this is a sample lesson. Now when I filmed it, I forgot to put my microphone on, but to be fair, most of my online courses, all my online courses were filmed before I started using a microphone anyway. When I film a tutorial or a lesson where I'm demonstrating what I'm doing, I'm sitting much closer to the camera, and basically the camera is right in front of my mouth. So the sound is better than when I used to film podcast episodes without a microphone. So hopefully it will be okay. But I thought as I'm sharing this on YouTube, I would do a special offer for my finishing techniques online course, 10% off for a specific period of time. Now I'm filming this first week of January, second week of January, 8th of January. I'm filming this. I don't know exactly when it's going to go live on my YouTube channel yet. So I will put the discount details in the description below so that when it goes live on YouTube, it will be valid for probably about a week. If you miss out on it, it's a very good value course anyway. You keep indefinite access to the course. You can go back to it and as often as you want to. You can watch it over and over again, and I'm there to answer any questions you have. So it is a very good value course, and I keep the price reasonable, and I haven't increased the price ever, I don't think. So it is a very good value course. But if you are interested in future discounts, then do sign up to my newsletter, because I do discounts on my online courses occasionally. So make sure you sign up to my newsletter. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this lesson on how to knit an I-cord cast off and an I-cord buttonhole. So let's have a look at how to do an I-cord cast off with I-cord buttonholes. So I picked up some stitches along this edge. I haven't gone all the way along. I picked up stitches with the right side facing going in that direction, and then I just pulled back. So I'm ready to start a right side row. You want the I-cord to curl around to the wrong side. So you want to make sure when you start the I-cord that the right side of the main fabric is facing you. So to start the I-cord, you need to cast on some stitches. Most I-cords are worked over 3 stitches, but you can have more or fewer stitches if you want a thicker I-cord or a thinner I-cord. I haven't tried it on less than 3 stitches, and I think the only way I consider less if I was using really chunky yarn. If you're using thinner yarn, you could try 4 stitches. If you're not sure, try and see what you like. To cast on the extra stitches that we need for the I-cord, we're going to use a cable cast on. Cable cast on, you go in between the first and the second stitch, and then you wrap the yarn around and bring up a new stitch. So it doesn't matter if you knit Continental or English, needle goes in after the first stitch, so between the first and the second stitch, wrap the yarn around and knit up a new stitch. Pull the loop out so it's a little bit looser, and then you're going to put it on your needle twisted. So instead of putting your needle in that way, you can twist the needle around and put it in that way, and then take your original right hand needle out. And then go in between the first and the second stitch. Now it can be a bit difficult to get in here, especially if you pull the stitch tight. So I normally leave it a bit loose, pull my needle in, and then tighten it. I'm going to do the next one Continental style. Go in between the new first and second stitch, pull up a loop. So you wrap the yarn around as if you're knitting, pull up a new loop. I tend to, as you can see, make that stitch quite big on my right hand needle. Put the needle in as it's twisted so that both needle tips are pointing in the same direction. That will make the stitch sit correctly on the needle. Then I will usually just leave it a bit loose like that, put my needle in behind it, and then pull my working yarn to tighten it, because then I don't have that difficult thing with trying to get my needle in. And then we're going to do the last stitch. So if you lose count where you put your needle in the first time, it creates a little bit of a gap. So you can see those 4 stitches are grouped together, then there's a bit of a gap. So that is where I put my needle in the first time. So that first stitch after that gap is the stitch I started with, the stitch I went behind for the first cast on. Then I go 1, 2, 3. If that last stitch is curling over a bit and it's annoying you, just take it off, and before you start, take the yarn to the front and then put it on. And then it doesn't do that weird trying to leapfrog the stitch next to it. So now we're going to knit 2 stitches. So the I-cord is 3 stitches. You always knit the first 2 and then you work a decrease. I prefer to do knit 2 together through the back loop. You can try an SSK, you can try knit 2 together. See which ones you prefer. I always prefer the knit 2 together through the back loop. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's my last I-cord stitch plus one of my edge stitches. To put my needle in through the back loop and knit those 2 together. Again, doesn't matter if you knit Continental or English style. Now I have 3 stitches on my right hand needle. I slip those 3 stitches back to my left hand needle, like that. So now my working yarn is coming from stitch number 3. And then I'm going to knit the first 2 stitches again, one at a time, like normal. But you want to try and pull the working yarn so that stitch number 1 and stitch number 3 end up as close together as possible. So I've knitted 2, then I'm going to knit 2 together through the back loop, like that. And then slip the 3 stitches back so you can see the working yarn is coming from stitch number 3. Slip them back to the left hand needle, like that. And then I'm going to knit the first 2, and again I don't want to try and flatten these 3 stitches out. The idea isn't to make them lie flat. The idea is to try and get the first stitch as close to the 3rd stitch as possible, so it starts to form a cord or a little tube along the edge of your knitting. Knit 2 together through the back loop, slip the stitches back again. When you slip them back, make sure you're doing it purlwise so you're not twisting the stitches, because then it will be weird when you knit them on the next I-cord row. 1, 2, and then knit 2 together through the back loop. Okay, I don't know how many rows I've done that, but that's fine. So let's try and do, no, let's just do one more and then we'll try and do an I-cord buttonhole. Oops, I dropped that first stitch. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to knit 2 and then knit 2 together through the back loop. Now we're going to leave those stitches on the right hand needle now, because we're going to do our I-cord buttonhole. So slip the next stitch purlwise, slip a second stitch purlwise, and then lift the first stitch over the second one. Slip another stitch purlwise and lift the stitch over, just like a normal cast off, except you're slipping the stitches, not knitting them. If it helps, let go of the working yarn. Slip another one and cast it on off. So you've now cast off 3 stitches and put the remaining stitch back on your left hand needle. Now we're going to do 3 freestanding I-cord rows across this gap. So we're going to slip our 3 I-cord stitches back to that left needle. And then this time we're going to knit 3. We're not going to knit 2 and knit 2 together through the back loop. We'll just knit 3 because we're not attaching this one. Slip them back. So that was the first row. And then we do that again. Knit 3. Second row. And then we need to do a third row. 1, 2, 3, And then now you want to make sure you take those stitches back on the left hand needle again, and then on the next row, on row 4, you start attaching it again. Make sure if you cast off 3 stitches that you do 3 I-cord rows before you start attaching it again, and that the first row you attach again is row 4. So I've cast off 3 stitches, I've done 3 freestanding I-cord rows, put my stitches back on the left hand needle, knit 2, and then knit 2 together through the back loop. So we start attaching the I-cord to your main knitting again and casting off. Put your stitches back on your left hand needle, knit 2, knit 2 together through the back loop. Slip the stitches back to the left hand needle, knit 2, knit 2 together through the back loop. Okay, so let's pretend we've got to the end of the I-cord now and we want to cast off. If you want to see how to do that I-cord buttonhole again, you can go and take another look. Casting off 3 stitches do create quite a big I-cord buttonhole, so you need to check with your button to make sure that it's the right size. If it's too big, then try 2 stitches instead of 3. So when you come to cast off, so pretend we don't have any more stitches there and we want to cast this off, we are going to just knit 2 like normal, lift the first stitch of the second stitch, knit 1, lift the first stitch of the second stitch, just like normal. And then I'm going to to attach that one to there, I'll just knit those 2 together so it looks a bit neater. There you go. So that is the I-cord cast off plus an I-cord buttonhole. On one button band you would do I-cord cast off with I-cord buttonholes. On the other side, on the other button band, you just do the I-cord cast off. And then you can just line up your buttons and sew them on. So if you have any questions, let me know below this video. Good luck practicing the I-cord cast off and I-cord buttonhole. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Don't forget to check out the discount on the Finishing Techniques course in the description box below. If you're watching this at some point in the future and you missed out on the discount, make sure you sign up to my newsletters. You don't miss that next time I have a special offer. If you're interested in checking out my online courses, I'll put the page for that below. You go to my website and they're listed there. Click on each course that you're interested in finding out more about, and it'll take you to rizuku.com, where my online courses are hosted. And you can see the full details for each course there and sign up to the course you're interested in. Any questions, just ask them below or message me, email me, and I will do my best to help you. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And I will see you next time.